Hello and welcome back to DeadMooseGaming, and today we are back with World of Tanks. Today I'm driving the Tier 9 American heavy tank, the T54E1. Yes, they decided to change this into a heavy tank, and one of the main changes for me was the change in penetration. Before, this tank had 210 standard and 255 premium. Now it has 248 standard and 310 premium. Honestly, that was one of the main reasons I did not want to touch this tank. The 210 penetration was just abysmal for Tier 9, especially in a derpy autoloader. But now they've changed that, I decided to dip my toes in. Especially since this is now top of the tree for a while, and I would really like to get the T57 Heavy. That tank is an absolute beast at Tier 10. Now I've decided to go onto the eastern flank on Redshire here. It's always a risk doing that, because if I pause the game for a second here and use the free cam, it's always a risk because you're going to have tank destroyers if the camera gets there, which it does. Well, speaking of which, there seems to be a shot going in and out there. That's funny. You always get tank destroyers here in these locations, and when you try and cross this little section here, they will just pour fire into you like there's no tomorrow. So you have to be very, very careful about crossing. But since there was only one light tank, and it hasn't been spotted doing anything yet, I was a bit more confident about crossing. So I make it across without taking any damage whatsoever. And there's a T103 over there. That tank's a ridiculous one. They're selling it at the moment, and I'm honestly quite tempted to get it. I have a bit of a soft spot for weird tanks, so that might be added to my collection soon, but I don't know. It is a Tier 10 game, as you can see, but there are only 4 Tier 10s a team, so I was feeling pretty good. This tank has a lot of potential, to be honest, ladies and gentlemen, with its 390 alpha and 4-shot autoloader. And that's when I noticed that our STRV is deciding to lead the charge, which in a Swedish TD is suicide, because the second you get tracked, you are useless. Since Swedish TDs rely on their tracks to be able to turn their tank and therefore aim with their special system. And that's when I see this T55A making an approach. I put one shot into his side. He's very aggressive, and unfortunately for him, he's trying to angle. That one actually bounces, which was unfortunate. But he's trying to side scrape, but unfortunately for him, I just go straight through his side at that angle. Which surprised me, to be honest, but I was trying to track him. But I'll take 3 damage, I guess. So yes, that is my first kill of the game, and we're up to 3 shots of damage. Our Type 4's playing the side here, trying to side scrape, which is not a good idea since your cheeks are exposed when you do that, but he's going to prove to be quite a valuable ally. And our STRV is getting slaughtered, which is entirely what you'd expect. Now I will pause it again for a second here, as it's just bizarre to me that an STRV would make that kind of play. Normally, you would either hide in the corner over here. This camera is very slow. I had to change my free camera mod since the original one I was using didn't let you access your settings, which always made colorblind mode off, which I don't like, because I prefer the blue over the red. Anyways, tank destroyers love to sit over here and get shots in. Alternatively, they can sit where our sniping 60TP is sitting, knock down the trees, and go to town that way. As the second they start pushing around, you have clean shots. Our STRV, however, had different ideas and decided to play very aggressively, which is very bold. I get a shot into the T103 as he peeks, and our STRV actually bounced the Email 2 shot there, which is quite fortunate. But that tank can do stuff with its armour, unlike the previous ones that I find always just get overmatched without any difficulty. And that's when the Leopard makes an appearance on the ridge. And I'm feeling very, very, very cautious at this point. And actually I should probably go over my thought process here. This is really the premise of the video. When should you abandon your team? It's a difficult question to answer about the tanks, because, at least for me, I always feel like I'm doing my team very, very dirty when I retreat from a flank. But when you consider the situation, I think it was the correct call here. We have a full health 60 TP, an E75 TS with a lovely German cross on the side. I didn't notice that before. A Leopard PTA and a T103, which are difficult tanks to fight, really. They all have decent penetration, so it's going to be very difficult for me to fight that. And for us, we have a Type 4 Heavy that is just going to get slaughtered because it fires once and then it's just a heat magnet, essentially. We have a T54E1 with a stock gun, so he has 181 base pen, so he's pretty useless. And we have an STRV on 500 health who can just get tracked and outflanked. So my thought process here is quite simple. I cannot fight this. Sure, I might be able to put a clip into the 60 TP, but then I'm a sitting duck for 30 seconds, and I'm going to get slaughtered like everyone else. Now, of course, we do have some support. The S1 I think I can count on for doing reliable damage with his amazing accuracy and penetration. The 60 TP, however, it's got a bit of a derpy gun, so I'm not feeling too confident about his support. So, all of that considered, I make the decision to retreat. Of course, you can criticise this as me abandoning the team or farming damage based off their expense, and I suppose you'd be correct, but I really did not see the benefit of trying to hold that flank, especially since it provides so little strategic value for our team. It'd be much better defending these ridge lines over here, using my turret armour and gun depression to put in some nice shots. Now, it is worth noting my crew is not yet 100% and it has not got brothers in arms either, so it is a bit derpy, my gun, but it's going to be good enough. So I set up here. I don't really want to turn the tank in case my gun blooms too much, and I'm making sure that I'm aiming on target. But I do get spotted, so I decide to reposition here. That's the problem. The Emil 2 has such great damage potential with its autoloader, and our T54E1 is really going to struggle to penetrate that tank, even in the hull, to be honest with you, unless it hits the lower plate. It seemed a bit untenable. Oh, STRV died, unsurprisingly. So I think I made the correct call here. I can also put in some sniping shots into the E75. I have no idea how that one penetrated. It seemed to just go straight for his gun mantlet. Maybe I hit the cheeks or something. Either way, it was a nice penetrating shot. And honestly, I'm just being a bit passive here, waiting for tanks to push. E75 makes another push. And I get another lovely shot. Honestly, that's quite lucky that that one went in, but I'll take it. And now I'm on reload here. And let's just consider the situation very quickly. We've got quite a nice tank destroyer gun line here, an ISU and a SU-130 PM that, to be honest with you, would not be able to help if I was still there, because there isn't really an angle until they push for them to shoot, right? So, by falling back, I allow my tank destroyers more time to set up, and I give them more space. Because just because I've fallen back, it doesn't mean I can't be a distraction. I am, however, reloading right now. You see our game's already been pretty good, 2k damage and 1.4k assist. And we are just biding our time. The 60 TP is making a push. Our 60 TP tries to put one in, but unfortunately it bounces, and that's what I mean about that tank. It's got a punchy gun, for sure, but it's not the most accurate one either. I think he's actually being shot as well, but he's on full health at the moment. And yes, I am recording this a bit differently, by the way, folks. Normally I would just record the game in full and then comment over it in the editing software, but this time I am just going to pause and use the free cam at my leisure, which I think honestly is a bit of an improvement. Let me know your thoughts about that in the comments. The enemy 60 TP is being quite passive, understandably. He's trying to peek, but it's really not working for him, since if he peeks like that, I'll just penetrate his drive wheel, and it's going to be bad days for him. Nothing's spotted right now, and I'm thinking that I should move, since I'm not getting much value out of that position, right? So I'm going to move forward. And that's when the Batchat decides to make a play across the hills there. So it kind of puts me into the back foot because I don't want to get spotted by him making this play. The Progetto is unaccounted for right now, and that's basically the only tank. The Batchat can be assumed to be moving eastward, so I have to be careful about that Progetto because he could be anywhere. I decide to hug this rock so that the email and the T103 cannot put shots into me. I really want to light this 60 TP because I think he's the priority, because he's on about half health and he's got a 750 alpha gun. That's going to be extremely punishing. And that's when I see this line of bushes, and I think it's the opportune moment to see if I can get some spotting. Because I do have nearly max view range in this tank. The email gets spotted behind the behind the hill there, sorry. And the 60 TP also gets spotted, so I can see if I can put shots into him. I can see his machine gun, but that's about it. And that's when the Batchat makes a massive error and is aggressive. And I get 912 spotting just like that. That was a fantastic result for me. And I think it really shows you my manoeuvre paid off there to fall back behind this ridgeline. Really, if you're pushing this flank on Redshire, you are going to die, unless you get exceptionally lucky. If it's not people playing the ridgeline, it's the tank destroyers at C4-5 that will kill you. I see another little knockdown tree here, which I think is a great use of concealment for me, so I can poke over the ridge and see what I can spot. I do spot the email too, but he's not really in a position to be shot right now, so I have to bide my time. I'm seeing if he's going to peek a bit more, but he goes invisible somehow. I didn't realise the email's camo was that good, but that's kind of insane that he went invisible there, to be honest with you. And that's when the 60 TP gets spotted making a play. It's 12-8, so I'm perfectly fine to trade some of my hit points at this stage, but as it turns out I don't need to, since I set him on fire and just slaughter him. I didn't reload that 4th shot for a long time because I didn't want to get caught out with my 30-second reload and miss out on 3 damage. And I set that 60 TP on fire for 328, which was a great result for me. And I also get a little bit of spotting on the email. So at this point I'm thinking, well, I might as well peek and try and get some spotting. Even if he puts a full clip into me, I'll survive. So it's not much of a risk. But that's when the TVP decides to turn on Farming Simulator mode and just drive behind the email and absolutely slaughter him, ending the game at 15-8. So, what was the point of this game? Well, there are a couple of reasons. One, I think it shows off the T54E1 quite well, with that damage potential it has in its clip. I just decimated that 60 TP. I felt quite bad for him in all honesty, since I set him on fire and there was really nothing he could do in the low ground there. Our 60 TP did survive on 200 health, and he was a useful distraction and nothing else. He probably put a couple of shots into the enemies, which is good for me. You can see the absolute graveyard here. I really think if I had stayed, I would have just been another one of these destroyed tanks. Because like I said, I can do my clip, but then I'm a sitting duck. I think I played that one quite well in all honesty, but let me know your thoughts in the comments. Could I have played that one better? With that being said, let's have a quick look at the endgame results. So this was a nice tanker for the T54E1. I also got Spotter, Bruiser and Fire for effect. I managed to do 3,567 damage alongside 2,837 assistance. I got 1,333 experience, which with my premium time went up to exactly 2,000 experience, which I thought was pretty neat. It is worth praising the TVP for its result here. 5.6k is nothing to scoff at. The enemy email also had a great game, 5.3k. It's just unfortunate he was on the wrong team, evidently. And as for credits, we made 58,000, and like I said, we got 2,000 experience. So that was a great game for me, and I think it demonstrated the flaws of Redshire quite well, since having fallen back there was really nothing they could do to push. And also the T54E1, it presented that quite well with its great auto-loader. With that being said, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.